Last time, we got a stupid amount of law runes from the Guardians of the Rift minigame, and this time we'll be putting those to good use by doing more of the Recipe for Disaster subquests, beginning with the Golem quest. Not technically one of the subquests, but it's a prerequisite. So I've definitely talked about this before, but the real-life lore behind golems as both a folklore / mythological creature is fascinating. Anyone who's interested should watch Jacob Geller's video on the topic after you finish watching this one. The follow-up to the Golem, Shadow of the Storm, introduces Evil Dave, a character who actually got his own quest in RuneScape 3. I'm not much of a fan of Evil Dave, but that quest gives a lot of XP, so I'm definitely a fan of the quest. In old school, he's just the guy living with a bunch of spicy rats in a basement. I was actually doing this quest on stream and someone redeemed the Nomad only channel point reward, so I suited up and put on my canonical, lore accurate Nomad voice. And for everyone who's been watching me on Twitch these last few months, I might actually migrate over to YouTube for streaming, I'm not sure, but scheduling is weird, so streams are going to be a little more infrequent. Sorry.
It is time to begin the ritual, and perhaps the demon will come through the circle. Oh, we've been tricked. He's actually teleporting himself away. What was his end goal? What was he planning? Going to the demon world. And then what? Yes, we just summon a demon. It's fine. It's okay. Whose cat is this? Oh, it's his. Your cat should not be out in this weather. It's dangerous for him. Agrithna. I recall Lord Zamorak speaking of him, helping during the God Wars. He was a lieutenant on a Thamaron, if I recall correctly. Oh, Jesus. Shit. Oh my god. Can I flinch him? I can use the torches. Ah, yes, British flashlights. Oh, this'll take a while. Why don't you just train combat to not have to flinch? I want to have Barrow's gloves before, like, level 70. I think that could be fun. See, look how much fun I'm having. Ugh. I should have brought an attack potion. Can't friggin' breathe in this thing. God damn it. Yes, I believe that Terragard is known for soul magic. I believe. Oh, damn it! Ow! Ah! No, over there, you stupid! You just die already. There we are.
I don't know about you, but I'm pretty sure it's illegal to do Shadow of the Storm and not use the XP lamp on ranged. It's 10,000 XP with no minimum level requirement. Takes you from 1 to 27 ranged without ever having to shoot a single arrow. I got 28 just a hair off 29 because I'd done Death to the Dorgashin already, and that gives 2,000 ranged XP. Now to free Evil Dave. Eris tells us the only reason he was invited to this dinner meeting is because there has to be a dark wizard present, but the Duke didn't want anyone that was an actual threat. He's here for appearances, but I mean, he did kinda help summon a demon. He's kind of a threat. I mean, well, I guess we also helped summon the demon as well. Never mind. To free Dave, we need to make a spicy stew. Something I'm sure everyone is familiar with. With the right combination of spices, it can boost or lower any skill by 5 levels. Very useful for diary tasks. I didn't bring many stews with me the first time because I was under the impression that RuneLight helped you cheat by like intercepting the quest code or something, you know, magic computers. But no, you gotta do it the old-fashioned way by trying different amounts of spices and checking with Dave. There's a timey-wimey paradox going on here as well. He only knows what spices are correct because he's already had the stew in his past, which is our future. We only know the correct spice ratios because Dave remembers what we're going to do, but we can only give him the correct stew because he already knows what he was given. That knowledge, that information, has no origin. The only way to avoid the paradox is to assume there's a cosmic platonic spice ratio beyond time and space. RuneScape canon. Space Stew. I'm glad I thought I hadn't raised my cat from a kitten. Next, Pirate Pete, the cousin of Party, Posty, and Parody Pete. You can tell they're cousins because they have the same name. I had to make a fishbowl helmet for this quest, but I knew there was a Kandarin task that required me to get a pet fish from Harry and Catherby, so I made 2 fishbowls and got myself a new friend. His name is Clyde, and he's gonna stick with us for a while. I did try to put Clyde back into the water that I fished him out of, but the game wouldn't let me, and if you think I'm just gonna dump him on the ground, well then, you're wrong. He's a good boy, and he doesn't deserve such a fate. I'm glad we're doing this part of RFD now, since we'll need this diving apparatus when we get to Fossil Island. I know you can walk around underwater without a helmet for a limited amount of time, but being able to breathe freely is pretty convenient. I feel the same way in real life. Drowning is, it's a bit of a downer. To free Scratch Uglogwi, we need to do big chumpy bird hunting, and that requires 30 range, so I got a bone crossbow, some bone bolts, tried killing some blue dragons on the Isle of Souls, realized how futile that was, and instead went to the moss giants north of Ardoin. A few kills later, I got 30 range and a beginner clue. Awesome. Is there a secret to chompy hunting? After you place the frog, do you have to step away a few steps for the chompy to spawn? Does it affect the chance of the bird showing up at all? Does proximity matter? Should I don't know, use the twirl emote, press B and hold down? Or is it all just RNG? In these many years of playing RuneScape, doing many of these quests at least half a dozen times, I've concluded that the most tense part of any quest is when you have to cook something. Oh good, it didn't burn. Thank the cosmic stew. Now we can help Scratch. We need to kill and cook a jubbly bird by overinflating a poor frog and turning it into a balloon. Ogres are so goddamn messed up. Here's something interesting. Jubblies can despawn if you don't kill them fast enough. That's a fun thing to discover. Okay, good. Killed one. Please don't burn. Oh. Huh. You need 41 cooking to cook it. Why isn't that? You'd think that'd be a requirement for the quest. Are cooked jubblies tradable? Can you just get one from another player? Fortunately, I had some raw fish in my bank and I was already level 40 cooking, so it didn't take very long to get 41. Fingers crossed we don't burn the jubbly. Oof. Okay, 31 ranged, 43 crafting. The Lumbridge guide is probably the easiest person to save. You just answer some of Treborn's trivia questions. Big chumpy bird hunting is a prereq for this, and I don't know why. Actually, most of the required quests for this one seem totally arbitrary. I'd assume it's because some of the trivia answers are characters from those quests, but if that's the case, then the observatory quest should be required since the professor can pop out of one of the eggs, and it's not. Weird. Well, that's it for RFD for now. We need to start Legends Quest to free Ceramic Vars, and finish Monkey Madness and get 70 cooking to free Awawogi. We'll come back to those later. Since I had no other ring options, I figured the Explorer Ring 1 would be a decent option. I was already in Lumbridge, I had most of the tasks done anyway, so let's just finish up the easy Lumbridge diary. 30 low alks per day, and it gives 1 prayer bonus. Not amazing, but it's better than nothing. And we get another XP lamp I can't use on Herblore yet, so it's gonna sit in our inventory for a little bit. Alright, here's the deal. I want to train my ranged a bit, so that's why I'm here in the wilderness collecting bones. Let me explain. I don't want to train ranged without Ava's Attractor. That means we have to do the quest Animal Magnetism. But during the quest, you need to bring Turiel a holy symbol and a mithril axe in exchange for a blessed axe. Crafting an unstrung symbol is easy, silver bar and wool. Blessing it, however, is most easily done by talking to Brother Gerard in the edge of a monastery, and we need 31 prayer to enter. I didn't need very many big bones to get to 31, so I just collected a full inventory from the boneyard and offered them on the Chaos Altar deep in the wilderness. It has a 50% chance of not using up a bone, effectively doubling the XP you get from each bone. The drawback is, well, you're in the wilderness. I stopped at 29 prayer for 2 reasons. First, the wilderness makes me antsy. Second, I know of another quest that gives a truckload of XP. First, we need to do Merlin's Crystal. Here's another question. There's a lot of lore surrounding King Arthur, various stories about different knights of his round table, you know, all that stuff. Everyone knows the stories, but where do people read about them? I'm pretty sure I only know about these stories through secondhand references in other media. So where do these stories come from? Is there a medieval manuscript that details these adventures? Or are they just nebulous tales that traveled by word of mouth and some historians wrote it down and we've collected it into a compendium or something? It feels like Warhammer lore. It sounds super interesting and I'd love to know more, but it seems like the lore just manifests within the minds of everyone else. There are books and games, but as far as I'm aware, they're all based on Warhammer. They're not the originators of the lore. So where did it begin, and why does it seem like everyone knows it? Maybe the orcs believed hard enough that they always existed in our cultural reality, so they retroactively created themselves in our minds. So now we know the story of them and everything surrounding their universe. Following Merlin's Crystal is a more important quest, the Holy Grail. Back in, I want to say 2008, when the quest Rocking Out was released, you needed 69 smithing. Not a very nice level, considering using the blast furnace back then wasn't really an option, at least as far as I remember. Also, smelting gold was basically the only way of training, so gold ore was super valuable and gold bars were basically worthless. My thought was mine the gold myself, save money. I was a teenager and I didn't understand opportunity costs. One method I'd happened across used the whistle you get from this quest. You mine a full inventory of gold from that ring of gold in Karamja, use the whistle to teleport to the Fisher Realm, use the fairy ring in Bank and Zenaris, port back to the Fisher Realm with the fairy ring, blow the whistle to leave, then mine another inventory. inventory. And did you know if you mined enough gold for 99 smithing, you'd get 99 mining on the way? If you smelted them with superheat item, you'd get 99 magic. And if you crafted sapphire bracelets from the bars, you'd get 99 crafting. Needless to say, 60 to 69 smithing required around 9,000 gold ore, and I gave up around, I don't know, 500? Give or take a few hundred. Take. For Camelot! Oh man. Apparently you don't need to talk to Percival when you return to the Fisher King realm, you can just show up and take the grail without so much as a word. I hope they don't miss it. 11,000 prayer XP and 15,300 defense XP gets us 35 prayer and 39 defense. Absurd? I love it. Now we can join the monastery and have our star blast. Animal magnetism time. I feel like I shouldn't be watching this. A dead man chasing around his rotting cock. Yeah, it's a low-hanging fruit, but hey, if the first joke ever written was about a woman farting in her husband's lap, and that was good enough for the folk that wrote the Epic of Gilgamesh, then a dick joke is good enough for YouTube. Alright, that's the backpack. Should save us a bit of ammo. Oh, and 25 Slayer. We can now kill cockatrices. How serendipitous. Or from the deep. Gives you a bit of ranged XP. Let's do that. First, I had to get hammered all over Galenor doing Grimhand's bar crawl, an easy feat for a hero such as myself. As you can see, Hamgrid, I finished your crawball. Hello, Larissa, you need help? Fix the bridge? Lighthouse? Oh, not a problem. Let me just... Oh, that's a lot of stairs. I'm okay. The floor broke by fall. Is it actually changing colors, or is this just me? Oh, it is, but it's colors with a U because it's a British sea monster. Oops. This quest is tough without protection prayers. I know people have done it before with like tick eating or whatever, pineapples, I don't know. Whatever, we did it. Got 34 range, 47 magic, 40 strength, and a damaged holy book. I went with Zamorak because I like red, but I think I could get all of them for 5k each anyway, it doesn't matter. I don't think you need to completely fill your first book to get the other ones anymore. It used to be like that ages ago. They probably changed it a while back. That wouldn't surprise me. In RS3, these are pocket slot items rather than offhand items. Like old school, it doesn't really have any useful stats besides prayer until you add all 4 god pages to it. However, unlike old school, you can add more pages to it and give yourself time with a specific active effect that the books can have that you can turn on and off at will. Usually the effect is, a slight % chance to deal extra damage and do some sort of secondary effect like a stun or AoE damage or a defense reduction. So I think it's time to get protection prayers now. 43 for all 3. I went to the Edgeville dungeon with my Dorgashan crossbow and killed hill giants, collecting their bones on the way until I had 38 ranged. It was at that point I realized I only needed 37 range to do the quest Spirits of the Elid. Low level combat. These spirits here, they look exactly the same in RS3. I don't mean they have the same textures and the same colors, I mean literally the same. The model is identical. The 2008 graphical update passed over these guys, and the 2014 model update missed them too. 8,000 prayer XP. Feels good. And that gets us 38 prayer, which unlocks Protect from Magic. I was watching one of Wild Mudkip's earlier group Ironman videos when he was grinding out 43 prayer, and I saw he was using magic to kill blue dragons in the Taverley dungeon. I assumed magic didn't work too well against dragons since they're made out of dragonhide, but it's actually not that bad. They have decent magic defense, but their magic level is 1, so you can hit them pretty accurately with magic because that's how old school's magic defense system works. It is weird, but yeah, magic defense isn't really as relevant as magic level. Since I got over 2,000 chaos runes from the Guardians of the Rift, it was a no-brainer. Safe spot blue dragons and sacrifice their bones to the Ectofuntus. Why the Ectofuntus rather than the Wilderness Altar? Risk. I would only need about 24 dragon bones if I used them on the Wilderness Altar, about 40 if I used them on the Ectofuntus, but if I got PK'd and lost half the bones, I'd end up having to collect around 40 anyway, and then I could get PK'd again and have to get more than 40. So I just decided to do the Ectofuntus method. It took a bit longer, but these safe spot grinds are great for editing videos, so it's not so bad. And I did end up going from 47 to 51 magic. You can AFK grind your bones, your guy will do all the steps on his own, or you can click each part of the mill and get it done faster. In RS3, you don't even need to bring pots. You just grind the bones and the pots come with them, like magic. The same is true for the slime, you don't need to bring any buckets, but you can't just buy them from the charter ships, which is way simpler and precisely what I did. Man, prayer levels up so fast when you have all the supplies. And that's 43 prayer. Now we can more easily take on a bunch of quest bosses, at least until we get to the later bosses that the old school devs made with different attack styles, hitting through prayer, typos damage, all that fun stuff. That's the funny thing about protection prayers. They're overpowered, except for when they're not. Let's celebrate our newly acquired prayers with a new weapon. It's time to upgrade from an adamant scimitar to a rune sword. This will probably be our main weapon until we get a dragon scimitar, so get used to it.